Many women over 50 want to lose weight, and most have heard of the GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. Perhaps some of you have considered taking them or are taking them now. But how much do you really know about these drugs and what they will do to your body? In this part two episode, we continue our deep dive into what these drugs are, how they work, and our own opinions on taking them. And we'll also share what you can do to naturally mimic the effects of GLP-1 drugs. Welcome to the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast, a place where Christian single women aged 50 plus connect. I am your host, Janine Jordan, a Christian confidence coach and leadership mentor in Alberta, Canada.
And I'm your co-host, Ellie McCormick, a Christian longevity coach and mentor in the USA. Being single women over 50, we know what it's like to feel overlooked, to have unrealized dreams, to experience the challenges of singlehood, and to be concerned about what our future will look like. We couldn't find anything online for single Christian women over 50, so we created Jesus People Sisterhood just for you, a place where sisters encourage and empower one another through the last third of life, because you are a treasure trove of wisdom and of exceedingly great value. This is an authentic community, a supportive family, with other women on the same journey where Jesus is the center of it all. Here you will find real talk, real community, and real sisters.
Join us as we discuss building relationships, whole health, and growing spiritually. We'll review helpful books and articles, chat with guest speakers, share success stories, and have some laughs along the way. So grab your favorite beverage and we'll get started. Welcome, sisters, to this episode of the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast, the only podcast specifically for single Christian women over 50. Today, we give a shout out to our sisters in Namibia. Thank you for listening.
It's a blessing to provide this podcast for free, but it does cost us to produce Jesus People Sisterhood episodes. It would be a great blessing to us that if you decide to buy a book mentioned in this podcast, you purchase it through the link in our episode show notes.
We want everyone to get to know our listeners, and so we'll be doing listener spotlight episodes from time to time. And if you would like to share your testimony or what the Lord is doing in your life currently, or if you are leading in ministry or another field and would like to tell us about that for a Jesus Sister Excelling in the Last Third episode, please contact us at support@JesusPeopleSisterhood.com. We would love to have our listeners come and share with the sisterhood. And now, let's get to today's episode.
Today's episode is part 2 of our discussion on what you should know about Ozempic and other GLP-1 drugs. If you've not listened to part 1, please go back and listen to the previous episode, episode 72, first. And now, we pick up the conversation where we left off last week. Dr. Hyman talks about the study done on bariatric surgery. They took very obese patients and half got bariatric surgery and half of them didn't. Both groups had diabetes and severe metabolic dysfunction. So they've all started out with the same severe health issues. The group that had the bariatric surgery had the bariatric surgery diet. And the control group got the same diet as the people who had surgery, but without the surgery. And you know what? You can probably guess, there was no difference in the outcome. So was it the surgery that worked or the diet that worked? It's pretty obvious. Dr. Hyman closed by stating that this whole craze for these weight loss drugs is misguided. It's highly risky, it's highly expensive, it's untested in the long term. And he thinks we'll see more and more problems come online as we see these drugs being used long term.
So, does Dr. Hyman completely rule out using GLP-1 drugs? Actually, he doesn't. We watched a video on Dr. Hyman's YouTube channel where he discusses GLP-1 drugs with Kelly Means and Tina Moore. Callie Means is an American health and wellness lobbyist and entrepreneur, and Dr. Tina Moore is a licensed naturopathic physician and chiropractor. And in this conversation, Callie Means was staunchly against the use of GLP-1 drugs because they are not beneficial to the majority of people. Dr. Moore does prescribe GLP-1 in lower doses to some of her patients and requires them to follow a diet and resistance training program in order to continue using the drug. And Dr. Moore claims that GLP-1 drugs are beneficial for other health issues besides diabetes and obesity. Dr. Hyman, for the most part, agreed with Dr. Moore's defense of using lower doses and requiring patients to change their diet and do resistance training. All agreed that you can only go off Ozempic if you radically change your lifestyle. So Kelly says, there's no point in taking it unless you're going to radically change your habits for life. Not a crash course, not a jump start, but actually really have almost a spiritual reset in your life to change your habits.
This video was almost 2 hours long, so we can't go over everything that was shared. We encourage you to listen to it yourself. The link is in the show notes. But one of the things that stood out to me was what Callie Means shared about the production and selling of drugs in the U.S. Callie said, diabetes isn't a metformin deficiency. Heart disease isn't a statin deficiency, etc. If we got rid of all these drugs and the medical system actually asked, what is the root cause of all these conditions? And we spent the $4 trillion on solving these conditions, it would actually go to things like core lifestyle habits. Callie went on to say that he is very skeptical of the billing of this drug as a miracle drug for all chronic conditions. There has never in American history been a pharmaceutical product that has lowered the rates of the chronic disease it's ostensibly trying to treat. More statins have led to more heart disease, more metformin, more diabetes, more SSRIs, more depression. It's a moral hazard. Callie also noted that you can look at JP Morgan's stock analysis for the Novo Nordisk stock, the producers of Ozempic. They project an increase in obesity in the coming years. They project that as this drug is prescribed widely and approved and government funded, they assume that obesity is going to go up. You just have to ask, why is that? The reason is that there has never been a chronic disease drug in history that actually lowers the rates of the chronic disease it's trying to treat. Again, it's a moral hazard.
One of the disturbing topics discussed was the prescribing of Ozempic to children. The American Academy of Pediatrics says the average 12-year-old should be on Ozempic, and this is being pushed on 6-year-olds. AAP now tells doctors that surgery and Ozempic are the first line of defense, not after dietary interventions fail. Callie asked why we prescribe Ozempic for kids when their school lunches are ultra-processed foods, and these Ozempic prescriptions for children are supposed to be for life. Ozempic comes with a warning that it's a lifetime drug, and if you go off the drug, there are unknown metabolic effects. And Kelly went on to say that Ozempic is a problem in 2 ways. One, it's a distraction. Once again, saying that the cure is in the medication instead of changing to a healthy lifestyle. With the money spent, $1,700 to $1,800 a month on Ozempic, we should give kids cards to buy organic food and invest in regenerative farming. It's also medically problematic. It has the highest and most widely spread side effects of any drug approved in modern American history. So what's the example we're setting? It's not just about us, older adults using GLP-1 drugs instead of pursuing healthy lifestyles and saying no to the toxic food we're being sold. It's also affecting our children and grandchildren. Life expectancy will decrease, and the younger generations will spend even more years of their lives suffering from chronic disease.
All 3 agreed that these drugs should not be prescribed at the high dosage of the injections that people are buying. They also are alarmed at how easy it is to get a prescription for these drugs with very little oversight or care from a physician. And we've listened to other health professionals discuss GLP-1 use, and the defense of prescribing the drug we've whittled down to be the following. Number one, people who are obese and unhealthy get a health benefit by losing weight. That is, taking the drug is worth the risk if you are severely obese with a lot of health problems. Number two, people who maybe have a food addiction or are struggling with their metabolic health just need a leg up to get them moving in the right direction. Number three, they prescribe lower doses and require patients to do resistance training and eat a healthy diet to limit the muscle and bone loss. And number four, the nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea that 50% of users experience on GLP-1 drugs lessens over time.
So I'm not a physician, but I do have my own opinion. I think it's better to forego the drug, especially with the information that's been made available. Before taking the drugs, maybe join a support group that encourages your weight loss journey and find activities that you can enjoy to increase your fitness. I think those two changes can help you stay on track. So the defense is that obese, unhealthy people need to lose weight, and so using the drug is worth the risk. Well, remember the bariatric surgery study where the diet brought the weight loss and health benefits, not the surgery? The same goes here. So, what are your thoughts, Ellie?
There's something else I wanted to bring up is that Callie Means kept repeating in this video that these drug manufacturers basically that none of them are projecting that people are not going to need these drugs and that people are
Mm,
going to lose weight and that people are
right.
going to be healthier. In fact, it's the opposite, which tells you it's kind of like saying we're just taking people for a ride and getting all the money we can out of them, and they're not going to get any healthier. It's maddening. And I
Hmm.
think he's looking at how they're investing in the things that they're doing. And so I just wanted to bring that up.
Hmm.
And I encourage everybody to watch these videos that we'll have linked in the show notes yourselves and
Right.
think critically. Yeah, I found that a number of healthcare providers that prescribe GLP-1 drugs, because I've watched a number of videos and people talking about it, that they defend it by saying they require their patients to do resistance training and special diets. So, and these are like the people who want to say they're health advocates like Tina Moore. And honestly, that just seems like an excuse to me. There is a conflict of interest there because these providers are making money off the GLP-1 drug craze by prescribing it to their patients. That's how you're going to get patients because people want it. They want to lose weight. I mean, it's such a big, big thing is weight loss because we're eating this horrible food, just like Dr. Hyman said, the food supply.
Hmm.
So we're going to be overweight. So we're going to have health problems. So we want to lose weight. And not only for health, but because we want to look good, right?
Hmm.
And so they're taking advantage of that. They're taking advantage of that people will come to them. And so they can offer them, we'll prescribe this to you. And
Right.
then by saying, okay, but then we're going to make sure that you follow this exercise regimen and eat a certain way to keep
Right.
you on it. Well, they're still taking advantage of that. And not only that, but many doctors receive incentives to prescribe the drugs. So that's on top of that. And
Hmm.
to me, it seems like they're just rationalize that they're minimizing the harm by requiring patients to lift weights and eat healthy. And by the way, even when patients do resistance training while on the drug, so they can keep some of the muscle, they said that they still lose 10% of lean mass. So again, that's something women over 50 can't afford to lose, can't afford to lose any
Right.
as we're getting older because we're already losing it. We're already losing it. We have to be doing stuff that builds it.
Hmm. Also, getting back to Ben Bickman's statement about the benefits of learning to deny yourself something you shouldn't be doing, self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. We're supposed to want the fruits of the Spirit, but it seems we don't want to develop self-control. Let's talk about this issue from a spiritual perspective. In 1 Corinthians 6:19, We find, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? Does it make sense to harm our temples, to lose needed muscle and bone so we can lose weight? And for most GLP-1 users, the weight loss is temporary. But for women in our age groups, the loss of lean mass is probably permanent. And we also become dependent on a drug to lose weight instead of the Lord. But by developing healthy habits and self control, we become empowered knowing the Lord is growing us and strengthening us to make healthy choices without the drugs. All drugs have side effects. We are wonderfully created. And when we give our bodies drugs, we can interfere with God's creation. And as women, we're often targeted by this kind of marketing. Just take the shot and be slim again. But the heart issue remains. If we medicate away the symptom, do we ever truly heal the cause?
Yeah. I think women taking the drug or considering taking the drug should really take this decision to the Lord
Mm,
and work through what their motivations and goals are. To me, the limited benefit of losing weight, and that's for most people temporarily,
mhm.
is outweighed by the risks of those very serious side effects, the loss of lean mass, so needed in older women,
Mhm.
and the harmfulness of employing easy fixes rather than learning to live a healthy lifestyle. We learn and grow and we become better humans through trials, not taking the easy road. And that's why the Bible describes the wide road that many choose, probably because it's easy and it looks attractive, like
Mm.
easy weight loss through taking a drug. And that's the road that leads to destruction. I'm not saying that anybody who's taking the drug is in sin, but I do want to encourage our listeners, especially our listeners, not to go the GLP-1 route for all the reasons we discussed in this episode. And I know that it's extremely tempting to use those drugs because you probably struggled with weight loss and because of society's pressure to be thin. But I feel like it's a temptation from the enemy to choose what looks good on the face of it, but will do more harm than good in the end. Proverbs 23:31 through 32 says, do not look at wine when it's red, when it sparkles in the cup, when it goes down smoothly. In the end, it bites like a snake and stings like a viper. And I
Yep.
think of the pastor's wife I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, who asked that others be warned of the dangers, the damage that these drugs can do. The enemy doesn't want you to develop self control or to learn and practice healthy habits. He doesn't want you to develop those character qualities and he doesn't want you to be healthy. He wants you debilitated and your life to be cut short from serving the Lord to the fullest. And Satan often tempts us to take the easy way and makes the Lord's way look more difficult and less desirable.
Mhm. Yep. So, sisters, if you're already using GPL-1 drugs, what then? Have a real heart-to-heart conversation with your doctor and ask them, what's my exit plan? What happens when I stop? How will you monitor my muscle, bone, and nutrient levels? Can we integrate strength training, protein goals, and nutrition counseling with this while I'm taking the drugs? How will this affect other medications or hormones? And ask yourself frankly, am I addressing the root causes? Do I have stress in my life that's not been addressed? Do I sleep well? Is my diet good and healthy? And what about my emotional health? Have I really taken into consideration that factor in the whole scheme of do I really need the GLP-1 drugs? As promised, let's also talk about what you can do to improve production of GLP-1 naturally so you can get off the drugs or never start taking them. Dr. Josh Axe gives 6 examples of foods that we can take to ensure we improve our gut health and production of GLP-1. Certain foods can mimic Ozempic naturally without the side effects. Remember that the GLP-1 hormone controls hunger and regulates blood sugar and helps to burn fat.
Okay, so Dr. Axe says Eat protein-rich foods, 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal, like pasture-raised eggs, wild-caught fish, bone broth, cottage cheese, or organic protein powders. Hey, if you're not taking notes, this is time to take notes. Number two, eat high fiber foods that prevent blood sugar spikes like chia and flax seeds, avocados, lentils, berries, and pomegranates. Number three, eat bitter foods like arugula, dandelion, green tea, and dark chocolate. Number four, eat healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, nuts and seeds, avocados, pumpkin seeds, coconut, salmon, and sardines. And number five, eat fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurt, and other probiotics. And finally, number six, eat chromium-rich foods like broccoli, green beans, eggs, grass-fed beef, turkey, and Brazil nuts.
And stay away from ultra-processed foods. Realize that these foods have been engineered to make us overeat. They are not nutritious, and they introduce damaging substances into our bodies. Look for God-made food. The closer to their natural state, the better. Shop the outer aisles of the grocery store and check food labels for the ingredient lists. If you can't pronounce the ingredient and can't buy it separately in the grocery store, don't buy it and don't eat it. Modern diets are 60 to 70% processed food, not God-made food. Other lifestyle changes to improve GLP-1 include strength train 2 to 3 times weekly to preserve that muscle. Walk daily. Movement after meals improves blood sugar levels. Sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. Hydrate. Sometimes hunger is dehydration. Get some water into you. Pray before meals and invite God into your health choices. Remember, ladies, this isn't about perfection. It's about partnership with God in your health. You're never too old to heal. Your metabolism isn't broken. It's waiting for nourishment and kindness.
I received an update on the pastor's wife I mentioned at the beginning of part 1 of this episode. In the past 6 months, she has not improved. She was prescribed Ozempic for diabetes. She currently has a feeding tube and a PICC line for drugs. She has had surgery because her bowels wrapped around the feeding tube. This is an ongoing problem, and they expect to repeat the surgery in the future. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." The world says, "Quick fix, easy answer." But God says, "Count it all joy when you encounter trials, and no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man." God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability, but with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape that you may be able to endure it. And we also know that he calls us to be good stewards of everything he's given us.
Mm-hmm. Remember, your body is God's creation, not a project to perfect, but a temple to nurture. God bless. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please share any thoughts that resonated with you from today's podcast episode in our private Facebook group at Jesus People Sisterhood community. Start reaching out to other single women and create your local group of Jesus People Sisters. Please let us know about your group to add to our directory by contacting us at support@JesusPeopleSisterhood.com.
Have you had a good experience with a business? They've treated you honestly and helped you at a reasonable price? Please let us know. We would like to start a directory of JPS-friendly businesses. Let's care for one another.
Be blessed by him who is able to protect you from stumbling and to make you stand in the presence of his glory, blameless and with great joy. Until next time.
Hey, sister, before you go, thank you for listening. If you found value in today's podcast, the best way to say thank you is by leaving a 5-star written review at Apple Podcasts. That raises us in the rankings and helps other sisters find us too. And please tell a friend or post it on your social media. If you're a single Christian woman over 50, this podcast was created specifically for you. The Jesus People Sisterhood is your community to find support and friendship with other sisters who can understand. Be sure to follow us on your podcast app and join our free private Facebook group at Jesus People Sisterhood Community.
Jesus People Sisterhood has also started a private Facebook group for housing and co-living opportunities. You can check that out at Jesus People Sisterhood Senior Housing. You can also find us on Facebook at Jesus People Sisterhood and individually for Janine at riseupcoachingandconsulting.com and for Ellie at samaramountain.com. And ladies, this is the necessary disclaimer. Our podcast content is for informational purposes and does not constitute professional advice for mental health, medical, legal, financial, or other areas. The opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host. It is our heart that this podcast will be a blessing to you. Together, let's build a powerful sisterhood with Jesus. Make a friend, add a sister, across the border and around the world.